Hi, everybody. Good morning. We are live. How's everyone going? How's everything going? Oh, I'm just going to wait a few moments, see if anybody joins. So, I've titled this video something about betrayal. And I feel really betrayed. And so, I think I'm healing from betrayal. And I don't think it's the first time in my life. I think what I'm going through now is a repeat of an earlier wound, and current events are catalyzing the healing of that original sin. Original sin. Said that in a comment to somebody yesterday. And I know I'm not great at the moment because of how I wake up in the morning. So many years of my life, many years, I would wake up and the emotion that I woke up in would kind of determine my day. I got very easily overwhelmed by emotions, and I was very much led by them. And I've done a lot of work over the years, a lot of work, constant, to try and improve my experience of life. And it got to a point, I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, where I was not waking up and having to cry. And things just got gradually better, and got to the point, I would say, that the last year or so, where I have occasional days where I cry, but for the most part, I wake up feeling really good. And that's not happening to me at the moment. I'm waking up and I'm not feeling good. And it's because of my living situation. So the person that I feel betrayed by lives downstairs. And I need to move, but because of my financial situation at the moment, because I chose to make a commitment. Good morning. Do I mean political betrayal? Well, whatever's in the mirror. So, yes, right now we're seeing, so I'm talking about my personal experience of being betrayed, but there's personal and collective wounds that we're healing at the moment. So, yes, collectively, we're also purging political betrayal. Absolutely. I'm going to focus, though, on my personal experience of it. It's all the same thing, I really believe. I'm live. Yay. Hi, welcome. Oh, it makes me very happy that you guys enjoy the live too. I much prefer the dialogue, the back and forth. I like being prompted as I do these. Big hug. Buenos dias. Buenas tardes. You know, I lived in Argentina. I lived in Cordoba, El Corazon, and what was it called? Los Riates. I don't know if you know. It's like a tiny mountain village. Los Riates. Excuse my accent. So I do believe we're purging. There is a lot of betrayal happening out there in the world. Yeah, turn on the news if you want. I personally don't engage so much with that. I look at it to see, okay, so how is this showing up in my life? So how can I deal with that internally? What's my version of that? And I really do believe if we all did our inner work, then out there would look a lot different as well. Excellent Spanish. Gracias. Oh, I'm nervous now. Gracias. Tiene que ter confianza, tener. Okay, I speak Portuñol now because I live in Portugal, and Spanish and Portuguese, blah, 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 una mezcla. So betrayal. Betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. And maybe that's too strong of a word for my personal situation, although it's how I feel, but I don't know if it was, what I'm grappling with at the moment is because I have a good heart And I would never intentionally harm someone. I might unintentionally harm someone because I'm a human and we all make mistakes and we all do things unknowingly, but I would never intentionally harm someone. So I tend to lend that to others. Most of my life, I've really considered everybody has a good heart. Nobody intentionally wants to hurt anybody. And I've learned along the way that's not true. And because I've learnt that, now I'm in a position where I'm not sure if it's intentional or not. And I'm not sure if I'm denying the truth to myself to actually say, it's intentional. This is intentional. And that's a really hard pill to swallow when it's somebody who you've built a relationship with for years of your life. It makes me think of people, people's true colors show, all of us, our true colors show when we're hurt. And how do we respond when we're hurt? And it makes me think of people or the stories I've heard when people get divorced, right? So it's the person that you chose to spend your life with. I can't imagine the heartbreak of that relationship ending. But when you hear about like these really nasty divorces and then people's true colors show, and then you like leave totally betrayed because not only did you think you were going to spend your life with this person because you loved them, but also how could they treat you like that? How could they end up treating you like that? What happened? And it's what happens when we're hurt. How do we behave when we're hurt? And this is telling for all of us. So let's look in the mirror, huh? When we're hurt, how do we respond? Do we take action for vengeance? Do we try to make them feel hurt? And, a lot of times this can happen unconsciously, but, you know, awareness is rising collectively. So we're all becoming more aware of our behaviors. So we can have a bit of a closer look now. How do we behave when we're hurt? And, true colors, I think, there's also this quote, your character is who you are when no one's watching. Are you there, guys? I'm going to hand it over. Okay, I just want to have a little break. Yeah, you're here. Okay, so have you felt betrayed before? We've all felt betrayed, right? Passive aggressive dudes. Patriarchy. Yeah, I'm not going there today. We went there yesterday. Today we're on betrayal. Although the patriarchy has betrayed us all, but it is just a system that we can unplug from. I don't want to go down there. I don't want to go down that. I don't want to pull at that thread today. But engagement with you makes me feel better. So thank you. So I will start with me, right? How do I behave when I'm hurt? There's several things that run through my mind. First of all, I do believe there's like a very natural and necessary process of individuation when we're hurt from somebody, and a way to create space is to create certain mental constructs that they are this and that, and that's somehow opposing to you, or disgusting is the word that comes to mind. So we create a narrative or a story that forces us to create space between us and the person. And I think that's sort of, I don't know if it's necessary, but I've kind of observed it happens. And it does create that space, which we can then go away to heal. And I've noticed that, like, my thoughts can be very, I suppose mean is the best word to say it. It's like I take it personally. I don't know where I'm going, but I feel I'm onto something here. Let's keep following this thread. And when I say I'm onto something, I mean purely for me. Maybe for us, maybe for us. I'm going to go back to an earlier thought that I started, which was because I never would intentionally harm someone or hurt somebody intentionally. I lend that to others. And it's this tough pill to swallow that some people do intentionally hurt and harm. And coming to terms with that, the divorce, right? It's people's true colors. Okay. I'm circling around something. I suppose the behavior I want to call out or make us more aware of is how to look after ourselves when we feel hurt by somebody, and how to learn how to care for ourselves healthily when we've been hurt. Because it's somehow a faculty of the mind to distract ourselves from the pain by projecting outwards onto this person everything that's wrong with them. And there's this defiance in our defense, which is it literally just keeps us from feeling pain. I think that's fuck 'em, sis. You've got adrenaline in your blood, yes, and it's not bad to be angry. In fact, repress aggressive. Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's true. It's true. So in this betrayal that I'm going through, there's the stages of grief, and there is a lot of anger in me, and I don't know exactly how to um, process it. I do have a bit of judgment against anger. Nice spot, by the way, because yeah, there is a lot of anger in me, and I don't know. It's just a stage of grief, isn't it? But I don't know how to get it out without, yeah, there is a bit of pushback. Thank you. You learnt a lot about projecting in a relationship a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, like the pool of projections. I blow my mind with the ways that I can project sometimes. It can be like triple project. Or I protect myself, my identity, and who I am. Oh, I started listening to this podcast this morning, This Jungian Life. And they've just released one this morning about not betrayal, corruption. Corruption. Very good. And this is somebody who mentioned at the beginning, is this political? Like, this is very in tune, but of course they always bring it back inside. Where is the corruption inside? And it has this little clip at the beginning talking about purity, and that purity cannot be understood by the human mind because we're in duality. So if we try to grasp a concept of purity, this is pure, then comes with it, this is impure. Automatically, if we're trying to grasp this as a concept, this is pure, this is not pure. And this all feels relevant. And it's gone. The thought's gone. Guys, hey, we're 5 of us. Oh, little love heart. No, come on. Okay, focus, thank you. Focus. Okay, so if we are trying to grasp purity as from the human mind, then other things are impure. How does this link in with let's just take a break. Let's just slow down. I'm not there. It's not resolved within me yet. You are following. Good. I'm not. I'm lost. I'm lost in the maze. My uncle told me this is relevant. My uncle told me if you go into one of these mazes and you want to get out the other end, stick to the left. No matter what, stick to the left hand. the whole way. Even if it takes you down a dead end, it will get you out of the dead end, and you just stick to the left and you will find your way out. You cannot falter. You can't think halfway through. Oh, maybe it's just stick to the left. It might take you longer, but it's a sure way to get you there. Love ourselves first, yes. And now I'm going to go a bit on a random tangent, but it's all relevant if we're listening with our inner ear. Compassion. Okay, you're making me think, water alchemy, hi, about compassion, because I am going through grief of the ending of a relationship, and it's still in my house, so it's quite hard to get away from it. Normally my coping mechanism is just to leave a situation, and I can't right now, so life's demanding a little more from me, and anger comes up, and then because I'm not super comfortable with anger at somebody, which is crazy, Jessie, so crazy, especially when they treat you like a bag of poop. I then go to, how can I have compassion? I try to bypass anger with compassion. So this is interesting. I do have love. I absolutely do. And I am in this place at the moment where I'm between like this situation making me feel a certain way and like emotional and da 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 da. Da. And then I plug out, like I went to the gym this morning and I listen to certain songs and I get into, and when I'm out of this, I'm good. I'm really good actually at the moment. I'm feeling really, really good. And it's this situation. So what I think I'm being I always use the passive, but which is curious, isn't it? I say what I think I'm being asked to do. I often frame myself as like a subject of life and or an I'm being asked by life to learn. It's curious framing. But what I think I'm being asked is to learn how to switch my focus. Like, as you can see, I am all over the bloody shop at the minute. I'm not that focused. But see, so many threads I feel pulling my attention. And this is absolutely a big one in my house that's pulling my attention and making me feel like have a lot of emotional content. And I do feel if I could just move away, I wouldn't have to deal with it, but I can't right now. So how can I not deal with it and it be in my thing? Or am I bypassing the emotions and the grief by just like distracting myself with other stuff and not focusing on it? Is it necessary for me to focus on this and feel the emotional content that it's stirring up in me or not? And another thing I'd like to say is this is a repeat of something I experienced when I was a child. So that's something I feel very strongly is I'm really being asked to revisit this wound now, present day circumstances. I feel the problem is abstraction. Love, okay, for whom? When? Why? There is no love in a vacuum, right? I love context. Yeah, good. I really like context too. And I think abstraction, absolutely. I go really abstract. Nice call. Hey, you calling me out today? Who is it? Fran. Thank you, Fran. I oh, it was a good hearty laugh. I go really abstract as another way to protect myself from my feelings. What context would you like, Fran? This is so scattered and all over the place. It's crazy. That would make it go away, but what does that theoretically? Theoretically, that would make it go away? Ferocity? Ferocity. Hey, you've just reminded me of something actually, because there's a time and a place for everything, right? So ferocity. I don't even know if that's what you meant, but that's why I'm going with it. A couple of years ago, I lived in a house share, and so it was a big house. It had 6 rooms. It was really, really big, and the landlord who owned the property lived in the basement. He had 2 dogs, and these dogs would, um, roam the sort of driveway, right? So as you come in through the gates, the dogs were there, and then I would go through, like, round the side, and there was the garden for the house where I rented. Now, this one of the dogs was an ex-police dog or a rescue dog, anyway, trained in a certain way, but when I first moved in, me and this dog, like this, all good. Whatever happened, for whatever reason, this dog took a sharp disliking to me. One day I came out of my house and it came straight towards me, barking very aggressively. Overnight switch. Scared the crap out of me. I wasn't expecting it. Anyway, I told the landlord, and he was like, "Oh, so you just got to play with it, da da da, whatever." Each time that I would leave my house, this dog would come for me to attack me. Each time that I would come into the house, it would also bark aggressively. Now, if the landlord was there, nothing, fine. It would stalk behind him, growling, but it wouldn't go for me. When he wasn't there, I was not protected. It would come for me. So it became a thing. Every time I needed to leave or go back to where I lived, there was the threat of attack. I spoke to other housemates about this. They did not see it as a problem because the dog didn't bother. They didn't care, to be quite honest with you. They didn't care. So, what I realized again, I have something, I have a wound. I don't know why or what or where it comes from, but I have this wound about not being safe at home. Anyway, this dog, I was terrified of it, right? I was not in a empowered place with it. And I would speak to people and they were like, just it's a dog, da 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 da. But nobody, I don't think, it was my own personal experience that I was having terror to leave or go back to my home. This dog eventually, so I spoke to the landlord, I told him, he would then lock it up. That then became a huge problem because they would be, I didn't want them to be locked up all day. Anyway, la 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 la. Long story short, it came to a precipice. One day when I was leaving, I had to go to work, and this dog was really, really barking aggressively, and I didn't want to have to go through the gate, through its territory to get out. Dribbling at the mouth, right? Like really, really gnarly. I have to go to work. So eventually I go out, it's barking, barking, barking. I get terrified. It like backs me into the corner. The other dog starts barking at me. They're both there. And then there are people in the house, right? There's people in the house. I'm screaming for them to help. I understand one person's bedroom is there and I know that they're in it. So I'm calling out for them to help. Nobody comes, right? Until the dog bites me. It finally comes up and bites me on the leg. And then, only then, do I lose it. I lose it. I yell at this dog with full ferocity and force until it cowers right back. I am screaming at it. And not only at the dog, but at this whole situation in the house, at the people, the housemates who are ignoring this attack that I'm in. But I do realize, right, there's no blame on any of I do realize what life was asking from me in that moment is I need to be ferocious sometimes and not take this crap. And I yelled and I yelled and I yelled, and this dog was cowering. Finally, I used my power. And then I left, I told the landlord what happened, and then eventually, like a few weeks later, I moved out. End of story. I won't be treated like this anymore. That was then. This is now. I've got the same thing. So maybe I just need some ferocity, you know? Like a real foot down that I won't be treated like this. Ah! Okay. Okay. Look, I'm gonna catch up on the comments now because let's just leave that ferocious energy. Why is the FKR not going away? Practice love. In Buddhist practice, it's called metta loving kindness. Don't practice love, practice. Isn't this good that we've got like two opposing? Okay, for people who are watching the replay, we've got like two people in the chat right now. One's going love, and the other one's going not love. Delight in your love. Don't practice love. Practice being passive aggressive in relationships. Absolutely, I will not practice that. Passive aggressive is not how I roll consciously. She's being treated like shit, guys. Sure, Buddha didn't have an ex. Oh no, dogs. Yes, grr. Okay. There's a time and a place for everything, but it's not always just like love and light. It's absolutely not. Because for me, for somebody like me who is my default setting is love, compassion, and understanding for people. Do you understand? So people take advantage of that and they treat me like crap. And then I'm like, oh no, it's not their fault. They didn't have a good shot. Sometimes it's like, you sort your shit out and stop treating people badly and act like an adult. Behave like your age. I cannot believe the age of some people and how they behave. And even people on the spiritual path, fuck me, the hypocrisy of that. Image. Another thing I'm learning. Ooh, it's coming out now. Another thing I'm learning. I personally am deceived by looks. That is a weakness of mine, and it has been, where I've just seen something and judged something based on its appearance and not gone deeper and looked deeper into it and seen that it's just a mirage. See. And that is just something I'm learning. And it's good. It's good to learn the subtlety, like more look beyond, But God, I just hate how insidious things can be on this planet. I hate how insidious and covert abuse can be. Some abuse is so covert and it's just sickening when you become aware of it. Oh, what are your takes on spiritual groups, like ones you've been a part of? I always felt as performative. Don't like, my goodness. Honestly, how I feel about group dynamics, I've never felt good about group dynamics, but that also because I didn't have good experiences growing up with friends. So performative. So what I feel about spiritual groups that I've been a part of, and actually I haven't been a part of because I'm always, in my experience, sabotaged out of them because somebody considers me a threat, which I am, to the falsity of what's going on. I always feel there's individuals that are very sincere and honest, and usually leaders are sincere in their efforts. And I think it's a super, super hard and brave thing to do, to want to head a community, because there's loads of people involved and people are fucked up in the head. Let's be honest, we all are. So to be somebody who, it doesn't appeal to me, but I do feel sincerity in certain people's hearts. And then there's because the thing is, when you've got leaders, you have followers. It's just a natural thing. And followers, because, and not all followers, some followers are very sincere. And I think a sincere follower is somebody who stays for a while and then goes off and does their own thing. Because eventually, can we all just lead ourselves? Or do we? And this is actually a question, because I guess my strong opinion is I would really like a world where everybody leads themselves and they don't need to go out to somebody. But is that possible? Or is it a realm where we have leaders and followers? But the thing about some followers, I find, is they want power by proxy. They don't know how to cultivate power or leadership within themselves. So they see somebody else and they get close. They get close because then they feel power by proxy. It's all about image, you see. Everyone's going to see this person and then associate me with them because I'm close by. Ugh! actually makes me feel sick. And, now I'm thinking of like alpha, beta, sigma, right? So you've got alphas, the leaders, and then you've got betas, right? Who are the followers. And then you have sigmas who don't want to lead or be followed. They don't want to follow or lead. And I really identify with that. I don't want to follow anyone. I don't want to lead anyone because then you've got followers. Not that it's not inherently wrong. It's just there is some people that use that because they just can't cultivate it within themselves. So I think like a genuine follower is in a phase where they are learning how to self-lead by witnessing and watching others. But it's just a phase, right? Eventually you've got to, right? That's my take on spiritual groups. I think it can be really icky because I think some people just, and then I think about compassion, right? Solution water alchemy, you still here, you going, love, Jessie, it's really nice, everybody who's here, because all your medicines. Oh. So then I do think about compassion and I go to this place inside of me, this softer, calmer place of compassion and like understanding, where these people and it's not these people, it's the behavior that disgusts me because power by proxy is just weak. I just consider it weak and I'm very judgmental. I'm impassioned because there is emotional content where my life is affected by this behavior. So I'm angry about it, but it's not the people. The love and the compassion and the understanding is for the people, for humanity, like for each of us, right? Who just want to get by. We just want love. We just want love by proxy, even, because maybe we've learned that point. I go to that point and I'm like, oh God, nobody really means it essentially deep down, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, it's just fluctuating between like, I guess my ego that's defensive and feels hurt by this behavior. And then it's like, go deeper, and just remember nothing matters. But it gets abstract, you see, and I'm just bypassing again. So thank you for this thought, followers. You're welcome. You are actively curious and looking for truth within you. I find sometimes other followers are just there to not. It's odd. Yeah. I just don't think they know how. I think for some people, their self-esteem has been so damaged that they do not know how to find it for themselves or to cultivate it for themselves. So these like superficial things of like, okay, well, I'll look the part, and okay, well, I'll do it, and I'll copy the behavior, and I'll do this, but it's not genuine. It's not coming from a place of integrated like truth within them that they're choosing that for themselves. It's just that seems to work for them, so I'll do it for me. And it's sad. It's actually sad. It's really sad. Oh God, it's sad, because where it comes from is such a deep, deep sense of low self-worth. Oof. And that isn't actually their fault. Oh, that's because something really nasty happened, huh? I suppose it's a bit like iffy, icky, wicky when we're on the spiritual path because we have access to a lot of like concepts that take us beyond the individual and the narrative and the story and what happened to us, right? So it's sort of like a bit weird that you have access to this, but then you're not uh, acting on it. You're not integrating it or behaving differently, changing anything. That's where it gets a bit, because some people can be arseholes, but if they're not like in these spiritual communities, fine, whatever. I judge that less. What is my way of feeling self-worth? You know, I'm gonna share something that, a friend shared because it came to my mind. He is brilliant, first of all, and he struggled a lot, insanely intelligent, absolute truth speaker, extremely funny, and struggles a lot. And when I saw him in the summer, he says he's got this new technique to get himself in a good mood, and he'll just look in the mirror and he makes silly faces until he feels better. And and I imagine, so I'm gonna like ad lib. I imagine sometimes it doesn't take long. Maybe other times it takes a bit more, but he will stay there making silly faces until he feels good again. What a beautiful way, huh? To reconnect with yourself. That's one way. That's his way. So I don't do the silly faces thing, although I have tried it a few times and it's quite a good one. Um, I think it's some way of reconnecting with your innocence and your inner child, whatever that is for you. So I maybe this is a bit embarrassing, but I have a teddy called Barney, and I've had Barney since I was 4, and I remember a lot of my childhood with Barney. So I really created in my psyche a personality with this bear. I created a relationship with it. And so when I'm not feeling good, I can go back to that. That's like my inner child connection with my inner child. And I think there is our self-worth. Yeah, you have to just find your way of communicating with your inner child and that part of you, that essence in you. Wow, this has been a crazy one, huh? We've gone all over the place. Look, we have a candle burning. Did you notice? Oh, Christine Fink, hi. Um, I like this question thing. Has anyone got a question? And it's okay if you don't. I write to from diary to fiction to channel all my anger and judgments and everything. When I publish, lots of people are gonna suffer. Ha ha ha, evil laughter. Okay, okay, okay. I don't know you well enough to like read that properly. So I'm sure you're joking. But I can't, but all I hear is like, "You're gonna make people suffer," and you seem happy about that, and that's like, "Oh, no." But you could just be joking, so I don't know. It's hard to read somebody in context when you don't know them. You were curious about being an awareness facilitator. Are you in Portugal? If you're thinking about doing the school, I 100% recommend. It has helped me and not helped me, but that inadvertently helps in, like, so many ways. It's quite fantastic, and it's not perfect, but it's a 2-year container that is, um your life will never be the same. I was curious that was even something you could consider. What has been your journey with it? With what? About my journey of becoming an aware of is that what you mean? I think, like, awareness is, um, like, choosing this path, which I imagine we're on, and you realize that you can't go back. And I sometimes ask myself why I chose this path. In fact, I saw a Teal Swan video talking about this the other day, and it was a really interesting thought. She says, like, why did you start the path? Why did you begin on the path of the spiritual path? And she's like, most people do it because they want to feel better. right? And then so you go on this path and then you realize it doesn't always feel good, but then you have these breakthroughs and it feels really good. And then but you realize like you can't come off this bloody path, right? So it gets to a point where what you start to realize is awareness doesn't necessarily mean feeling good. In fact, awareness of what's going on in this reality ain't going to make you feel good, because the more that you open your heart and have compassion and understanding that we're all one, and then you realize what we're all doing to each other, and then there's a sense of responsibility that you have, right? With awareness. This is the thing. So she says you get to this point in the spiritual path where you go, okay, why am I actually here? Is it to feel good or is it to have more awareness? Because and then you're at a crossroads. And then we can just go, actually, I just wanted to feel good. And this is where I think where in these spiritual communities where you get like this, a lot of this more, is people just want to feel good. They just want to be in a bubble where everything's good all the time and they're just bypassing all the crap and not taking any responsibility to help what is going on in the world. And I say this as somebody like, I don't know. I would say maybe I'm at this crossroads. And I don't want to just go, I don't want to just feel good all the time. I'm realizing with awareness, I have a responsibility to contribute, to help somehow, right? I think we do. With all due respect, you are just repressing your aggression. You are going to start asking yourself, what does the other want? And that is called obsessive neurosis and religion. Better to okay, I do you know what? I could very well be repressing aggression, yeah. Better to forget what should be and remember what one feels. Mhm. I agree with that. Parts of it. I think it's true. I think it's really true, and I think it's a bit of a trap on the spiritual path of like, I feel good, I don't feel anger, all of this, and actually it's so fine to feel anger. In fact, if you're not feeling anger, you're not paying attention. I really believe that. And I do feel anger, but there's a lot of programs in me. I'm pulled all over the place. Still finding my feet. Not the demand of the big other, but our desire. I feel so much anger. Christine Fink, yeah, me too. And you know what? Oh God, even just reading that, I'm like, I'm with you in that shared anger, and then immediately become aware of the grief underneath it. But anger's really good because it's empowering and it's like outward action. So we can channel anger. I think I really need to learn how to channel my anger. And stay in the anger because I can feel, do you feel that grief underneath? Makes me think back to the live a couple of days ago where I'm talking about like my vision and each of our visions, like what is the vision of the world that we wish to see and what can we do? What little thing can we do each day to help create that vision? And like this is one of it for me, just having conversations with people who relate. You know what I like about grief is after we've allowed ourselves to go there, there is this sacred silence. It's like after though, I haven't been there yet. If anybody's done ceremonies before and you've witnessed the energy that moves, so there's like these moments of real joy and then grief and then like we move around all of the emotions, kind of whoever's within the ceremony. And my favorite part is when there's been like a release of some kind and then the energy just goes and there's like this sacred silence. that is where there's healing. I think that's where the healing happens. Just like a recognition and an acknowledgement of what's happened and the pain. It's like when we have a minute's silence. What a beautiful thing we do. And it doesn't last forever. That's the thing. I think maybe that's what we get afraid of, that it's going to last forever. Like, I don't want to cry. Oh, not this again. I don't want to feel sad. Oh, not this again. Not this again. Oh, no, I thought I got over this. And it's like, well, it doesn't last. Let's just honor it while it arises, huh? That's all it wants, is some recognition. Am I looking to create my own course or group? Yes, absolutely. I am. I will. I don't know when, but that's the direction I'm heading. Thank you for the question. Who's your favorite spiritual speaker or public figure that you resonate with? So one of mine is my teacher, Satya. I like spiritual speakers. So I don't listen so much anymore, but back in the day, like in my 20s, I'd listen to Adi Ashanti a lot. I like his teachings. Rupert Spira was the guy where I got into all of this through my mum, but I don't listen to that anymore. Teal Swan helps in other ways as well. I resonate with her teachings, not so much now, but I have. Yeah, I would say they're the ones that stand out. Richard Rudd has been somebody that's helped a lot, like his gene key transmission, that helped me quite a lot on my journey. But phases, like each one brings something, and then I think we're supposed to evolve and come out. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments, for your presence, and your contributions. So I sincerely wish you a beautiful day and a beautiful life. Thank you once again. And as you know, we've got this. I will see you soon. Much, much love.